So in this video, we are going to take a look at the project worksheet and the rubric that corresponds to the project worksheet just to make sure that we're all on the same page with what needs to be done within the project. So as you'll see here, we're going to go through the worksheet first. So the first thing you should do is state your claim. When you state your claim, you're taking the direct quote from your source and you're putting that in number 1. You need to include an in-text APA citation. So that would be the parenthetical citation here in number 1, because what we're going to do is in week 3, we should kind of be copying and pasting from this week into the week 3 assignment. So you want to give me that nice parenthetical in-text citation. You want to add a reference page at the bottom. So put in a page break and insert your reference here in APA citations. Who is the population of your claim? So this would be if your claim is about how many cups of coffee Americans drink every week or every day. Your population is Americans. If your population is how many times women frequent the gym, then your population is women. So your population is going to be a large group of people because most of the claims I've seen are either gender-based, age-based, or just general Americans. That's going to be a broad group of people. When you justify your statement, you must explain, my claim says the number of cups of coffee that Americans drink, therefore my population is Americans. Or my claim says mothers spend on average so much time on their cell phone. Therefore, my population is mothers or females that have children. So justify your statement is kind of a brief restating of what's in your claim. What questions? These are the questions I have approved via the inbox process. 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 for you guys. When you're explaining the rationale, the first question you guys all came up with on your own, or in some cases 2 questions, is related to your claim. So your rationale would be, this is the data I need to gather in order to check my claim. For the extra questions that I suggested in the inbox, the rationale is literally gathering extra data to complete the project. So several of you guys, I told you, ask something about age or gender or some follow-up question because you're going to have to make 8 calculations, not just the 1 for the claim. So that's why your rationale is just going to be, I needed some extra questions to be able to complete the project. Where will you post your survey? So this is, Facebook has a really cool survey feature that you guys can utilize and people can share it and it's really quick. SurveyMonkey, if you're copying and pasting the SurveyMonkey link into your Facebook, into your Instagram, into whatever, that's where you're going to put where you'll post your survey. That's every platform. If you're doing any calls, emails, etc., everything you're going to do to gather data needs to be a number 4 because I need to see it in week 2 if there's something I feel like I might need to suggest. So maybe I might see that you need a little bit of extra help gathering data, so I might make a couple suggestions there. How will you gather the data? This is what you're doing to collect the responses. So SurveyMonkey, Facebook question, if you're taking the responses from somewhere else and you're putting them by hand into Excel, that's what you're going to state there. So we want to know, how are you going to take all 100 responses and put them into one table, one format? How are you going to do that? SurveyMonkey does it for you. Facebook question does it for you. By hand or Excel, you're taking the answers and doing it. All right, what type of sampling method will you use? I have an announcement I'm posting about this today. This is the biggest place that points are lost here. Chances are you are not using random sampling, okay? I want you to go in the textbook and to go into my recorded lecture and listen to what I say about random sampling. Random sampling means you have a list of every single person in your population. So if your population is women, you have to have a census of all the women in the U.S. Then you're going to use a random number generator, and that's who you're going to track down. The word random in statistics does not mean the same way we use it in English. It does not mean I'm selecting someone at random, because if you do it at random, it's biased. So random sampling means you have a list of your entire population and you've gone through. You've got to watch the lecture on the sampling methods, guys, okay? Then once you have your sampling method, you have to use a reference. That reference should be the textbook for this course or the other suggested textbook and OpenStax. You need an APA citation, and you need a sentence saying, this is blank sampling because blank, okay? You really got to make sure you address this. In number 7, I want you to think about what 2 types of graph you have learned about that are most appropriate for your data. This is discussion 1. That's where this is coming from. Everything you do in Math 120 is going to build into this project. So if you're not sure, go back through the discussion posts in week 1 and take a look at what did people say about, oh, they did a good job with a bar graph or a pie chart or a histogram. That's what we're looking for. Then you're going to need to justify your statement and cite a reference. So this is where students get a little, they question it, right? So what I mean by cite a reference is go in the textbook, look at the definition of that type of chart. Make sure that that type of chart can fit with your data. So a pie chart is pretty much qualitative data, okay? You can't use a pie chart if you're collecting the ages of people. So that's what I mean by citing a reference. Is just saying, according to blah, blah, blah textbook, this graph can be utilized with my data set because blank. So that's what we're looking at. Some things to think about is it qualitative? Is it categorical? Is it interval? Is it an outlier? That's some hints to think about when you're choosing your graphs. Now, if you get your data in week 3 and you want to change this, that's okay. I'm really just looking for, can you explain the type of graph you're going to use? What 8 descriptive statistics that you've learned about are going to be most appropriate? Okay, we're planning. We've talked about in week 2 discussion when to use the mean, the median, and the mode. I understand you're not going to know when to use that, okay, because you don't have your data set yet. But in your mind, do you think you're going to have outliers? If not, say, I'm going to use the mean because I don't think I'm really going to have outliers. Or if you think you might have outliers, so maybe you've got some really excited coffee drinkers, then that's what I'm looking for here is to justify your statement. So what are your options for the 8 statistics? You can use a mean, a median, a mode, a range, a standard deviation, a variance for each question that is quantitative. If you have a question that is qualitative, you can look at the mode. That's going to be the most appropriate thing. So when you're listing your 8 descriptive statistics, you can count each question as its own statistic, okay? Chances are for your claim, you're going to want to calculate the mean, the median, and the mode, and the range, and then you might hone in on, okay, well, after I've done these calculations, this is what I think. So this is really related to the week 2 discussion. And it's planning. So this is hypothetical, guys. If you get your data set and you say, wow, I have a lot of outliers, I cannot use the mean, then that's okay. This is just the planning worksheet. Your references then are going to be your citation for your claim, and they're going to be the different textbooks that you use. Now let's take a look at the rubric. So when I'm grading this on the rubric, I'm looking for, did you thoroughly answer all questions? You may have some things that I want to change, but I'm going to tell you that in the feedback. As long as you've made a valid attempt at answering all the questions, that's 20 points. So this planning worksheet, if you're going to make a mistake, this is the time to make it. Put as much information in that planning worksheet as you can, because I'm going to be reading them and giving you extensive feedback to make sure you're on the right track for the project. So this planning worksheet is really an opportunity to get some feedback from me on knowing if you're on the right track before you have a large submission for the project. Citations and referencing. If it says justify, if it says citation, you must have a citation. Otherwise, you will lose 10 points. So make sure you have the citation. Now, if you have a citation, but I think you have a little bit of improvement to go with your understanding of APA, I'm going to explain that and not take off points in the submission. So do your best, make your best attempt at APA. Again, now is the time to make mistakes to get feedback, because starting in week 3, if those things are incorrect, you're going to be losing points. And then writing. Are you using complete sentences? Are you doing your best to be clear and to write well? That's all I'm looking for there. I'm not looking for you to be a blogger. I'm just looking for, did you make your best attempt to put these in sentence format, okay? So that's what I'm really looking for there. So this is the week 2 project. Go through this video, make sure you've answered all the questions appropriately, make sure you've got the rubric criteria. I would like to see this worksheet with a cover page and a reference page, just so I can give some feedback on, your cover page needs a little bit of improvement. So that's what we're looking for here. Please inbox me if you have any questions on this, but I look forward to seeing some really great project planning worksheets.